Don't you do it. If we delay, we're gonna have some problems. I'm waiting for everything to boot up right quick before I get started. And again, I want to be mindful of those who don't know some of the different aspects of the Hebrew language. I'm going to do my very best to explain things in some details so you don't miss out on what I'm trying to explain. It doesn't matter how much a person knows. It matters whether or not that person cares, because nobody really cares about how much you know. They want to know that you really care, right? So, and that's something that we can all, take with us today. Is like people don't care. You can know everything, but do you care about the people? Do you care about what's really going on? Are you really listening to um, their concerns, right? So let me share my screen with you and we'll get started. Oh, it's over here. Okay. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes.
Praise be
Yes.
to the living Elohim. All right, so this is what we do. You and I, we've been doing this for several years and months and weeks and days. We're doing a review of the Torah. Those of you who are watching live by stream, it's important for you to understand that you have to stay on the path with the Most High Yah. That's what we have to do. We have to make sure that we stay on the path. And there's benefits that are on that path. Not only do you get to eat, but also you get to look at all the different places in which the Most High has allowed our ancestors to travel and understand the circumstances of their relationship with Him and some of the things in which He wanted to teach them along the way. Okay. Um, I don't have any preconceived notions about what we should study or what we should understand. Um, we're all reading the same information, but yet some things are being pulled out that you probably didn't see. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. It's okay if you don't. Everyone has a different opinion, but the Most High is giving us an idea about some different things that He wants to show us about the children of Israel and some of their successes and also some of their failures. But today we're going to deal with the chapters 22, 23, 24, and 25. I generally don't go over all of the chapters because there's so much information, right? So I name these chapters not after their religious terms of, Balaam and Balak and, how the church has been teaching, how pastors teach, but I've actually put in the information that I brought out of each one of those chapters. So, chapter number 22 today is going to be talking about the delay. Okay. 23 is the comparison, 24 is the star of Yaakov, and of course, 25 is the snare of the nations. I'm going to focus today on the delay and the comparison, but I do briefly want to talk to you a little bit about the star of Yaakov. The star of Yaakov, everyone, was talking about a king that was going to raise up out of Israel. Balaam saw that, and he was talking about King David. Okay, and it talked about how he was going to destroy the outskirts of Moab and Edom and all these different locations. So this is not talking about some Christian star that you have been taught about, that being JC the Christ. It's actually talking about King David. Okay. I'll do another study on that later on. Okay. Chapter number 25, the snare of the nations, which is talking about the promiscuity of the children of Israel, not just the men, it was with the women as well. Okay. And that trap was set by the nations. And what they usually do is they set the idea of entertainment, parties, and of course, illicit, inappropriate behavior. Bruce, you may want to have your little girl cover her ears for just a second. The promiscuity, you know what I'm talking about, but acts that were unclean and that were very vile. Okay. And so these are the parties that they go to, the sexual parties with everyone intermingling with each other. If you guys follow me, you know what I'm talking about. So all of this uncleanness and all this has to do with the idea of pleasure. And that's the reason why they set that trap, is because they know that the children of Israel, not just the men, the women as well, we have a propensity for wanting to feel good. Okay. So with that being said, let's continue our study. Chapter number 22 in the delay. But we're going to begin our study today with a reference to the prophet Yashayahu. Yashayahu is known in the English tongue as Isaiah. It's in chapter number 1, which is relative to what we read this week about an ox and a donkey, right? So you read about a donkey this week. The Most High says, an ox knows its owner and a donkey its master's stall, but Israel does not know, my people do not reflect. I thought this was appropriate for us to begin our study off with because what the Most High is literally telling us is that for some reason or another, we're actually dumb. We're dumb as an ox and as stupid as a donkey. I could use a what do they call it? Expletive, but I'm not. It says you're a dumb, blank blank. So we're dumb, right? And he's saying, in my people, we don't have the sense of an ox or a donkey, and that to me is very shameful. And the reason why it's shameful is because what it's talking about is that you and I have no idea about who we're dealing with. Even a animal knows who they're dealing with, but you don't know. You don't know that you're dealing with ill. You don't know that you're dealing with the strong. This letter right here has to do with an ox. And this letter right here called the Lemid, okay, which you would see in English called El, okay. You hear it all the time, El. El is the power, okay, the powerful one. So you really don't know the power of the staff. See, so the donkey, the owner, the ox are all being led and directed by its owner. And what he's saying is that you don't know who's who you're being led by. He says Israel does not reflect upon that, right? So there's a problem. So when the Most High is telling us this, we need to pay attention. We need to listen to this. And of course, a prophet in English is called, excuse me, in Hebrew is called a Navi. And a Navi generally is basic or basically a meaning of a seed, which that's where that letter N comes from. And what do you do with a seed? Well, you take a seed and you plant it in the ground, because remember, we're talking about agricultural terms. You take the seed, you plant it, and this V right here is what they would call the house or the tent, okay, which represents inside. So you got a seed and you got the tent. So it's planting the seed inside of a house, okay, or excuse me, inside of something. So the seed is planted, right? So when a prophet speaks, they're telling you about something. They're planting a seed, and the seed is being planted somewhere. And then, of course, when the seed starts to grow, eventually you'll find out what the seed is. You don't know what a seed is just by looking at it. You just don't know what it looks like, right? When it's out, it's just a seed, and then it sprouts. And then all of a sudden it grows into a tree, okay? Or a flower, or whatever it may have been. It might be an apple tree, it might be an orange tree, it might be a banana tree, it might be whatever. But you can't say what it is until you actually see it, right? So this is the reason why prophets are important for the children of Israel, because the Most High has designated us as a people to receive our information, because this is the way we chose, of course, is to receive information from our Creator through the prophet. So why is the Most High giving us a prophet? He's giving us a prophet to plant a seed. Once the seed is planted, it's going to take time in order for it to grow, so you can know that for sure this prophet said that this is what it's going to be. And then when it happens, then you'll know, oh, that's what he was right. He was sent from the Most High. So the Most High uses that in order for you to know whether or not he said something is true or whether or not he said it. So, for example, if you look in the New Testament, they have all these different prophecies that they're claiming, and you ask a Christian all the time, okay, this prophecy says this, did it happen? And they would say, no, not yet. Not yet. So if it happened, did not happen yet, then how can you claim that that's from the Most High, right? So the Most High is letting us know that you cannot expect or see something. If you don't see what he's planted, then you can't say it's something that is not. He's not telling you to believe anything. He's telling you to look at what I've made, look at what I said. It's going to come to pass. Okay. Just like in different harvest seasons. Okay. So, for example, he says there's no rain, then there's no rain. You'll know that. Well, the Most High said ain't gonna be no rain. There's no rain. Oh, he said it. There's evidence. Okay. So it's not about belief. So I want to be clear about that. Okay. Our lesson in chapter number 22 deals with this idea of the delay. What I found in the Torah this week was the idea of false humility, right? And so, of course, Balaam is the one who has done this. He said he answered the servants of Balak, which you read, and he says, even if Balak was to give me his palace filled with silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of Yahweh, my Elohim, and do anything great or small. So from that, when we first read that, it seems like he's an obedient servant. He's willing to do what the Most High wants. But this is all a show. This is fake because he did and ultimately went past what the Most High had said. So what it is for us to learn is that we can say the right things to the people that are around us, right? We can say all the right things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do what the Most High said. What we're going to do for the Most High has to be done through our actions. So false humility is it's a pretext, right? And so you're trying to put someone's guard down, you're trying to appear a certain way. And he's saying, listen, learn from this man Balaam, learn from this so-called servant of the Most High. Okay. The second part that I found about the delay was this is that he was self-willed. Okay, so he not only experienced false humility in his conversation, which he was using as his craft because that's what he was a diviner. And so he had them believe, he tried to get them to believe something about himself that wasn't true. Okay. They didn't know it, but the Most High knew it, right? So, of course, we're telling people what we want to tell them. And we're thinking, well, at least I can convince them. But inherently, that that's not really what your motivations are. Okay. He was also self willed. He says, if the men have come to summon you, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you. This is the Most High telling Balaam this. So Balaam got up in the morning, he saddled his donkey, and he went with the princes of Moab. This is not the full context. And full context is talking about the Most High said, the only time that I want you to go with these men is if they come back and he said, come with us. But the men never came back and told him this. Balaam just automatically got up on his own in the morning and he saddled his donkey, right? And he went with the princes of Moab. The Most High didn't tell him to do that. So what we see is that what's behind false humility is a person or a personality that has an intention to be about themselves. They're going to do what they want to do. This is the plan. So act like you're really humble, right? But you're inherently self-willed. You're going to do what you want to do. You're going to be obstinate in your desires and what the Most High wants you to do. You're not going to do it. Yes, Kel.
Yeah, I had a question about that part where you said that he wasn't supposed to go. I was reading this and I got confused because I thought that verse above where it says, "If the men have come to summon you, get up and go with them, but do what I tell you to." And then
Mhm.
so Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the princes of Moab. So, why do you say that he was not supposed to go if Yahweh told him in the verse above to go with them, but just to do what he told him to do?
Because that was the second time. So what he said, he went to the Most High a second time, remember? And he said, the men have come unto me, right? And he said, okay. He says, only go. He said, I'm going to go seek what the Most High says. The Most High said, if the men have come, so he's saying, after you come back from visiting me and having an encounter with me, if the men come, okay, if they come to you again and tell you, come on, let's go, then you go with them. So in the previous verse, it says, hey, that the Most High was angry. Remember, it said he got angry with Balaam. Why did he get angry? Because of Balaam did not obey the command. The command wasn't just to go, get up in the morning and go with the men because they came. He's saying, if the men have come to summon you, meaning again, if they ask you again, then you should go with them. But not right now. Okay. Not right now. So they went to him twice. That was the second time. So he says, not right now. Because the first time that he went, he says, no, I'm not cursing these people. He said, Yahweh said, I can't go with you. So the Most High is not contradicting himself. He's saying, listen, if these men ask you again, then you can go. Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Sister Pam.
I think the fact that he actually went showed what was really in his heart. It was in his heart to go initially.
Thank you. So you get it. So the false humility was the hey, I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell you that hey, if the man even if the man gave me everything, I'm not going. That's false. So he wasn't really listen, it wasn't really about the money for him. It was about who he is and what he wants to do. So he's finding a way to delay of doing what the Most High says. He's putting off, right? So the idea too behind that self-will was I'm going to do what I want to do. He got up, he made a presumption, he went beyond what the Most High told him. Okay. Think about what we read and we studied this week. Okay. So now we have false humility, we got self-will. Now, as a result of this, the donkey saw the Malach of Yahweh standing on the road, drawn with the sword in hand. So the donkey turned off the road and into the field, and Balaam had to beat the donkey to get it back on the road. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk more about this. Okay, so what it is, everyone, is that Balaam was bent on being self-willed. He's going to do what he wants to do, right? He saddled his ass or his donkey and he went on his way. And then the donkey ends up going to a field and he tried to get the donkey back on the road. Okay. I want you to keep this in mind. So he had to beat the donkey to get the donkey back on the road. Okay. And the idea behind, hey, a ox knows its owner and a donkey its master's stall, my people don't reflect, but Israel doesn't reflect. Israel is off the road. They don't know who's leading them. They don't know the path, right? And so the Most High has to do something to get us because we're turning away from him, just like the donkey was here, just like Balaam. And the reason for that is because of false humility and being self-willed. Again, going to Isaiah in the second verse, after we found that, hey, an ox knows his master and a donkey knows his master's stall, right? Its owner. It says here, the prophet says, where should I strike you next? As you persist in rebelling, the whole head is sick, the whole heart is diseased. Okay. I don't have the word L there on the right hand side, but I do have the word call. Okay. And you could put it as a K-A-L. Okay. So a K-A-L. But you can remember that this looks like the letter C right here, but it just looks reversed because the C is this way. Okay. And in Hebrew, A sound is called a cough, looks like that. So it's reversed. So it's call. And this is a L. Okay. That's an L sound. So you got call, like C-A-L-L. Okay. So call, okay, to make a call. But we know the call means that this is the palm of the hand, and then this is the shepherd's staff. Okay. So this letter right here is very important. So when the Most High has to
Oh,
get us
there's
back
no
in,
thing audio.
go ahead, put your device on mute. Thank you, Jude.
Oh,
Put your
There's no
device.
I can't hear anything anyway.
You guys put your. Let me see. Let me see if I can get them right quick. Put Jude on mute. There you go. You guys probably didn't know. Anyway, so what we're talking about is how the Most High has to use his palm of the hand
I
with,
say
with
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. You guys put your device on mute. Thank you. So when you put the palm, what's in the palm of the hand is the staff. Okay. And when the Most High has to bring us back in line and he has to strike us, he's going to strike the animal or the beast of burden with a staff. He's going to strike the the same power L that's using the staff to guide us is using the same staff to correct us. So that staff means authority. So the prophet is telling us, hey, guess what? The Most High is letting you know that the only way that I've been dealing with you because you're rebelling against me is I have to strike you. Just like Balaam struck that donkey 3 times, right? The Most High has to strike Israel. Our power has to strike us. Our owner has to strike us. This is the reason why he says the ox knows its owner. Owner. Okay? And a donkey knows its master's stall, where it's supposed to go. But Israel, my people, don't reflect. So number one, you don't know that I'm your owner, and you don't know I'm your master, and you don't know where I'm putting you. You do not get it. You're not listening. And because you're not going to listen to me, the only action I have to take is to strike you. And I'm not going to strike you with my hand. I'm going to strike you with the staff, because the staff is in my hand. And that's what the Most High uses to tame us, which is the staff. And the staff is the authority. And Yahweh's authority is his words. That's what it is. It's authority. To strike upon is El or all. And all is to see. This letter right here means to have eyes, to see the staff. So we're going to see the staff. We're going to be led by the staff. We're going to be corrected by the staff. We're going to be tamed by the staff. We're going to be yoked by the staff. We're going to be pushed by the staff. He's going to do whatever it takes. He said the whole head is sick, the whole heart, the mind is diseased, meaning I can't get through. This is not working. The discipline that the Most High has been using on us just hasn't worked. Until he sent us into exile. And why he sent us into exile, there's still some individuals where the staff and the authority and the voice of Yahweh is not being listened to. How do you say voice in Hebrew, right? So here, check this out. Here's another thing. The letter Kol here. This is pull it right here. This letter right here is called a Kof. And here's a staff. It's called Kol. This means voice. That means voice. That means gather to the staff. So we got led by the staff with the Aleph. We got correct by the staff. We got the voice of gather to the staff. So what do we understand? We understand the biggest part of everything that we're learning has to do with Yahweh's staff. It has to do with learning. The staff in Hebrew has to do with learning. That's why it's a letter L. Learn. This is what Yah is using to get you to learn about his authority. Those who don't want to come to class, those who don't want to sit and listen, those who don't want to read, those who don't want to study, those that don't want to learn are never going to figure out what did Yahweh say. So if you're listening today, and there's an L again for you, listen. It starts with a letter L. In order to start learning, one has to give their ear to learning, to listen to what the Most High said. I congratulate each and every last one of you, because the Most High has you on the correct path. Now it's a matter of whether or not you want to stay on it. And if you're going to stay on it, then you're going to be led, because the letter L right there, the lamed, means to lead. Or led, to be led on this by the staff. On what? On the road. This is what he's doing. He's leading you. He's leading, letter L, lamed, leading you, guiding you, prodding you, poking you, not to hurt you, but to bring you into correction, to correct the course, to correct your guidance system where you're at, to get your mind right. You see? Now, the difference between an ox and a sheep is that when the Most High has to deal with an ox, he generally deals with an ox with a yoke. And the yoke is the letter lamed. And of course, it's using this. Again, the ayin and the lamed. That's a yoke. That means yoke. That's the thing that's put on the ox's neck to guide it. You understand? To see the authority, see. So he trains an ox with a yoke. How you train a sheep or a goat. You don't put a yoke on a sheep or a goat, because if you do, it'll hurt their neck, and they're not domesticated for that. They're not designated for that. Okay. So the Most High will use the shepherd's staff. It's the same thing that he's using on the ox, but in a different way. Instead of you bearing it on your neck, he said, I'm just going to guide you and I'm going to lead you this way. You see? So, and then of course, in the Hebrew, the ox is the largest animal, which is the aleph, right? The ox. The ox has to be dealt with. I'm putting up the Hebrew right there for you, ancient Hebrew. The ox has to be led this way with a shepherd's staff or a yoke upon its neck because it's designed for that because it's so strong. So the stronger it is, the more weight it's supposed to be able to bear. The sheep and the goats are weaker. So you don't have to put a yoke. You won't put nothing super strong on them. The ox in Hebrew, of course, again, doing my picture of an ox, is the leader of all of the animals. It's the strongest. It's the leader of all the animals. This is the reason why when the Most High is talking to the leaders of Israel and the nation, he calls the nation an ox. Because the ox is supposed to be the strongest of all the domesticated animals. And it's supposed to show everyone what direction it's supposed to go in, but it cannot be led by its own motivations and intentions. It must know its owner, and it must agree with the teaching. It has to. If it doesn't, then the whole head is sick. And here in this reference and context, the Most High is talking about the leadership of the nation. The whole mind is diseased. And what does it mean? It just won't function. It's not functioning correctly. So as a nation, the Most High is saying, where I got to strike you next. You're rebelling. You're going against what I said. And that doesn't work. I told you today that you're going to be excited to be on this class. With Aikika, I don't see anything exciting. All I see is the fear of Yahweh that he ain't playing. In your Torah portion, you learned of 3 different places. Okay, the donkey went to the field first, right? She got struck 3 times because she went 3 different places. Okay, the first part that she went to was the field. First place, excuse me. The first place is the field. All right. And why the field? Because in the field, something happens. Okay. In the field, one is supposed to plant their seed. Okay. Now we're talking agricultural terms. This is the reason why religion doesn't work for us. This is the reason why you should be excited. Is because you're starting to understand. Okay. And I'm starting to understand. Okay. What Yah is saying. See, when you're up in your suit and your tie, and you're sitting there in church for 3 to 4 to 5 hours, and you're singing, dancing, and jumping over pews and acting crazy and speaking in some demonic language, you're not taking the time to find out what the Most High is talking about. Okay? The Most High is talking about a seed and he's talking about a basket. Okay? And why? Because when you go, you plant the seed, which is called a squash. I don't have it up here. When people were traveling along a road, they would take seed and they would throw it out into the road, right? Or excuse me, into the field. When they're walking in the field, they would just have a handful of seeds and they would just throw it in the field. And the reason why they were doing this and they were stretching out and spreading this seed out is because when other people would travel on the road, they would always have something to eat. Not only for themselves, but also for others. You know how you take a road trip? You know, they didn't have 7-Elevens and AM, PMs and gas stations and stuff like that. And they didn't have stores that you can stop off of or little McDonald's and all this. When they would travel, they would go on roads and paths and fields, and they would know when I get there, we'll find something when we get there. Okay. And when they travel, they'll usually carry a basket because that's how they travel with things, right? Or a pouch or whatnot. And so when they had this seed, they would spread it on the field. And that's what this word natah means, is to a seed basket, to spread something and to stretch something out, right? Now, the reason why this donkey, right, this ass, this atone, the reason why she went onto that field is because it was wide, it was open, and it was accessible to her, and it was easy to get to, right? Because she saw the Malach of Yahweh. I decided not to talk about the Malach of Yahweh in this in particular teaching, but that's a whole nother teaching. I want to focus on why she went to the field. Okay. Because she is a picture of what Balaam did. Balaam is Yahweh's donkey, everyone. That's what this is. Balaam is the donkey, and Yahweh is the master, and the Most High is communicating to Balaam through the donkey. Okay, so the donkey went to the field. So it's like, well, where did Balaam go to the field? What Balaam did, everyone, and this is what you and I need to be careful about. When the Most High commanded Balaam, I want you to take your time and think about this. When he commanded him, right? Balaam, the Most High said, if the men come and they summon you to go with them, then go and tell them everything I say. The Most High didn't say that. Didn't he? I mean, he said that, but Balaam didn't do that. What Balaam did, everyone, is he stretched out what the Most High said. He went off of the first command. That's what he did. The second command, the second time he went to the Most High, he stretched out what the Most High said. He took part of what Yahweh said and did what the Most High said. Kel, when you said, well, he did what he said, he did partly what he said. He stretched out what the Most High said. Last week, he found out that Moshe and Aharon stretched out what the Most High said because he already told him. He said, when you get there, speak to the rock, right? Well, based upon the first command that Moshe received, he was told to strike the rock. So what he did is he went off of the first command. He didn't go off of the following command. He thought because that was said to him, he can use that now and go where he needs to go and do what he wants to do because he was self-willed like Balaam. You see? So what he's telling us is that, and that is what you call delayed obedience. Okay? So when we stretch out what the Most High said, we'll take part of what he said in order to justify our own obstinance and our own delay to do what he said. You see? That's called delayed obedience. And that right there is false humility. See? And false humility is connected to stretching out what the Most High said, stretching the commandment out. The second part, the second place that she went is she went into what? She went into the path. She went onto a road. Okay. That word, it wasn't a path. It was the path. In Hebrew, it didn't say she went onto a path. She went onto the path. So there's only one path. Okay, so in Hebrew, the word for path is called Derek, like your friend, or you can remember this. I got a friend named Derek. Every time I talk about Derek, I'm talking about the path, right? So, and it means to tread. And what you see in that tread or in that path is very obvious. You can see the tread marks. You can see that it's traveled, and you can see the grooves, and you can see it. Okay, that's why it's called the path or the Haderek, because you can see it. It's frequently traveled. Okay. So when she went there, she went onto the path, right? And of course, the path means the journey that has been prescribed. Now, because remember, it said Balaam tried to get her back onto the path. So he hit her again to get her back on the path. What? The place that's frequently traveled. And what does this mean? It means when you and I are not on the path is delayed righteousness. What do I mean by being delayed? So we got delayed obedience. Then we got delayed righteousness. If you and I get off of the path that has already been prescribed by Yahweh, right? Your righteousness, you're spreading out the command, first of all. Secondly, you're delaying the righteousness that you're supposed to be doing. You're delaying the righteousness that Yahweh is looking for. It says, I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil, right? It says, thou art with me, thou rod thy staff. He says that you lead me on the path of righteousness for your name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley, right? So the Most High has us on a prescribed path of righteousness. And when you and I are not walking that path, then you and I are delaying the righteousness that Yahweh has for us. Yes, Kel.
I was just thinking that we're delaying it because we're in exile right now because we didn't follow the path the first time when we said we would follow the Torah, but now we're trying to follow it and realizing where we are in exile. So we're delaying it in a sense right now in our time.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. We have delayed it, but now we are on the path. You are on the path of righteousness. You are. You're on that path. Being on that path means that I'm not going to, it's not that I'm not going to make a mistake. It's not that I'm going to, veer off a little bit to the right or to the left once in a while. It's not that. It means that once we veer off, then that means that righteousness is not being obtained. And Yah doesn't want us on the path, not a path. He doesn't want us to be off the path because you will not be able to see the righteousness of Yah. He doesn't have us walking on this path because of our own righteousness. It's his path. It's not your path, it's the path. It's his path of righteousness. So when you and I walk on it and we have to travel, we have to stay on the path. And the only way that we can stay on the path is if we decide that we're going to be led by Yah. Because remember, he says that, people, they get off the path. The ox gets off the path, the donkey, right? But they get back in line, right? The ass here, what did she do? She went on the path. She got back on the path, okay? The next part that she went to is she went to a restricted place. Now, Kel, this is where we're at. Listen to this. The restriction is that she came to a place where she couldn't go to the left and she couldn't go to the right. That place is where pressure is felt. When there's restriction, there's pressure. So the word for pressure there is zar, and zar means enemy, right? So when she was on this path, right, and she left the path and then she ran away when she saw the Amalek again. She went to a place where she couldn't move to the left or to the right. And so finally she decided, I'm going to sit down on this one now. I'm not moving at all. Okay. Why? Because now the Most High was revealing to Balaam that now that I have you in a place of pressure, because the donkey can't go nowhere, you've become an enemy of mine. And that's the reason why the Moloch was standing there with the sword drawn out. And so he's talking to Balaam through the donkey, and he's talking to Balaam through the locations. Okay. And he's talking to you and I through the locations, the donkey and Balaam. Okay. So now you and I are in the place of our enemies. And we're very restricted. There's a lot of restrictions. We can't do what we want to do for Yah because now Yah has looked at us as an enemy while we're away from him. You're an enemy of his. He says that I'm going against you, Leviticus chapter number 26. And the reason why he's treating us this way is because of what we've done, is because we've left the path. Okay. And now we went to a place of restriction. Now that we're in this place of restriction, we're in trouble. Now you're in trouble, okay? And what we mean by this is that it's delayed progress. Anytime we get into a place, so as a nation, we haven't been able to progress because we're not in the place we need to be. We're not. So we have delayed obedience because we're stretching out Yahweh's command. We have the delayed righteousness where we're not walking on the path. And of course, when we come to the place, because now she was led there because of the Malach of Yahweh, now considered to be an enemy, you're in a strait and you're in pressure and you're in a place of trouble. So now progress is going to be delayed. And then the Most High at that time when he was dealing with Balaam was deciding whether or not he was going to kill him. Okay. And the man had the ability to see, and he was a seer, and he was able to open his eye and see visions, but he couldn't see the Malach of Yahweh. So this tells you something about the Most High. The Most High had to open up his mind, his eye. He had to open his eyes. The donkey saw it, but he didn't see it. See? See, no pun intended. See? He opened the donkey's mouth. She's starting to speak. So can donkey speak? Yes. Proven. You see? So here it is. That's what we're supposed to learn from those places. I want to briefly talk to you about the vision, which they would call a mashalo. The mashalo is this: from the top of the rocks, I see him. This is the comparison. That's what I meant by mashalo. He says, from the top of the rocks, I see him, right? In your versions, it would say, I see them. Okay, they changed the word from him to them. And from the hills I behold him. Yes, a people that will dwell alone and not think itself one of the nations. Now, this is where I wanted you to be excited. I wanted you to be happy. Okay, for a variety of reasons. The first reason is number one, when the Most High looks at us as a people, he sees us as one, as an individual. Even though he calls us a people, he looks at it as one. Case in point, there's no one who's calling themselves the children of Israel that are going to live unto themselves, right? So when he sees you, he sees me. You see, when he sees my family, he sees your family. He sees all of us as one, right? So he's not going to do something for Kika that he wouldn't do for you. Period. It's not going to happen. As a nation, he's talking about as a nation of people. So the Most High is not going to be merciful and compassionate and bless me and not bless everyone else. This is the reason why people have the problem with me saying that at this time while we're in exile, there's no way possible that you're blessed. You're cursed. You might receive the mercy of the Most High, but you're not blessed. Okay. And then it says that that people will dwell alone and not think itself one of the nations. And I want to talk briefly about that so you and I can completely understand what's being said here. In your diagram right here, you see the Hebrew word for Av, and Av is your father. Okay. That's what a father is. Why is Av important? Because Hebraically, the father was the one who always sits alone. Okay. He's always alone. And he lives an isolated life. And he's, separate from all others because the father is generally sitting at the tent and he's looking out at the road to see anything that's coming to bring destruction upon the family. That's what this agriculturally means, okay? That's what the father does. It says Israel doesn't consider itself one of the nations, okay? So let me go right back here again and show you something. So when it talked about, behold, I see him, right? I see him from the rocks. Yes, I see him. Yes, a people that will dwell alone. So if you and I are dwelling alone, and I know a lot of us are, we're feeling a certain type of way. And the way that we feel very lonely. And we feel very isolated from other people. And the purpose of this is because the Most High has designated you to be separate from other people. That's the reason why. And what he's doing is he's separating you from the destruction that's coming. So part of our experience of walking with the Most High and being with him means that you're going to be alone. You are. Even though you and I are walking on the path together and we're all together right now on Shabbat and we talk during the week and we express our ideas and we share stories and whatnot. And even though you're married or you're not, or you have a relationship, you still feel alone. So this is very personal. You understand? So this is real. This is not fake. This is real. And what the Most High is doing, I told you to be excited, is because what the Most High is doing is separating you from the destruction that's coming. So when you think about when you feel lonely and you feel isolated, because I do, I feel isolated all the time. I'm isolated from family. I'm isolated from friends. I'm isolated from different places, different events. I'm isolated from family gatherings. I'm isolated from some forms of entertainment. I'm isolated in my diet. I'm separate in all different ways. Hell, my own son has, separated himself from me. The kid that I raised, right? He separated himself, right? Because he doesn't want to follow. And that's okay. But here's the bottom line. You're going to feel lonely. And this is what Balaam saw. So when Balaam was talking to Balak, Balaam, Most High, has had this written. He hath this written and documented for you and I. So you and I would understand what he is going to do. That's why I was excited this morning and happy. I know I sound a little, melancholy, what do you call it? Melancholy right now, but I'm letting you know that you're being spared. So there's a cost, right? But there's a benefit too, okay? So the Most High, he's going to spare you. If you leave the path of Yahweh in this lonely path that he has for you, the path, because it's a very lonely path, right? You're going to be destroyed because the path is the path of the Father. And there's the strength again of the ox. And of course, this is the house, right? That's the house. That's the tent of the family. Yes, Kel.
When you say that we're alone right now, this is only temporary, like while we're in exile. When we're in the land, the new heaven, new earth, it's going to be the majority. Everyone's going to be following this. So then
Yes.
there's a transition.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the point we're getting to, right? So right now we're experiencing this. Right now. Your exile was because the Most High is trying to talk to you and he's trying to isolate you. Okay. So this is what he's doing to, and I say you, meaning myself as well. I'm not excluding myself, but I have to say you because it's personal. It is personal. So when you're feeling a certain type of way, and you're feeling like, no one cares about you, don't love you, and, all this kind of stuff, the Most High is doing this to you. He's doing this to you. And the reason why he's doing it is because he has something intended for you. There's something written in the Psalms that says, the light is sown for the righteous and joy is set apart for the Yasharim, or for the upright. Okay. So this is what the Father has done. This is what he's doing, just like he's doing, and he's alone. So when we're with Yah, okay, listen to me. When he says that he's alone, and I don't have a whole bunch of scriptures, I know them. I could go them right now, but that's not what this is about. It's not me, sharing how many scriptures I know. It's for me to give you an understanding about what I've come to understand. Everything that the Most High has done, he's done it alone. There is no one with the Most High when he created the heavens and the earth. So this has to do with idolatry. Because he's saying that anyone, and so the people that when you're not alone and you're around a whole bunch of other people, then that means that you're with everyone else. And when you're with everyone else, you're not isolated from their gods. And because you're with those gods, you're going to be destroyed. That's what he's telling us. When the Most High he said when he made the heavens and earth, he did it alone. When he said he brought us out of the land of Egypt, he said he did it alone. And for him to be alone, there's no one with Yah. So when he tells us that we have to become like him, he literally is telling us you're going to have to be alone. And you have to separate yourself so you won't be mixed in with the other group, so people won't get it twisted about who you serve. So since you serve the Elohim and the El of all power, and there's no one else, I got to direct you. Do you understand? So if the Most High is alone, and he chose you to be his people, then you're going to have to accept this. Now, Kel, to answer your question, when it goes back to what he just said, he said, I saw these people. I saw him. Who? The people. And the people are dwelling alone. This is a prophecy. When we're in our land and we're with the Most High, this power that I'm feeling right now is telling me that guess what? When we're with him and we're back in our land and we're with Yah, you should expect to be with Yah and Yah only. You should expect that the only people around you are people that think, live, and act just like you and who love Yah. You're going to dwell alone. You're not going to be mixed with all the nations. This ain't not no gumbo. It's set apart. This is the reason why he's been saying, don't mix your linen and your wool together. Don't mix the two different seeds together. Don't do this. Don't bind an ox and a donkey together on the same yoke. Why? Because he's telling you that I'm alone. And when I do something, you're not going to mix it. Even though there's all these other nations, he said, you are not like them. They're not going to even think like them. They're not going to be like one of the nations. And that's only going to happen through isolation. Yes, Kel.
Do you think from the inception that Yahweh created the earth, the heavens, and the human race that he knew that there was going to be an exile in the future and that he would have to make changes? Because I'm just kind of thinking like he's been creating more instruction as time has been going on, but it's because of us making our decisions.
No, he hasn't created any new instructions. What it is what he's done is for every group of people that he's been dealing with, he'll give them their instructions. The instructions that he's given to the children of Israel, he's never given to anyone else, and he's not going to change it. He hasn't changed his instructions. There's not new instructions. They're the same. They're the same for Israel that they've always been. They haven't changed. Don't add, don't subtract, don't put anything upon, don't diminish, don't go to the left, don't go to the right. It's going to be the same identical Torah that they received at Mount Sinai. Is going to be the same identical Torah that you and I are going to receive when we go back out to the wilderness. So the plan is that you're going to be alone and as a nation. And it talked about how they're not going to be and consider itself or think of itself. The idea of thinking is, hey, look, you're not doing any planning. They don't plan on being with anyone else. Why is this important for us to understand today? Because if you don't get this today, and this is not what your understanding is, and you don't know what this was consistent on this path, right? And what the plan is Yahweh's plan. The plan is the Torah. The plan is you're not going to eat any pork. The plan is you're going to show up 3 times a year. The plan is you're going to honor the Shabbat. The plan is that there's only one Elohim. The plan is you're going to glorify Yah. You are an eternal being that has been created in order to bring praise and worship to the Most High. This is the designation for this people, because everyone else have not been given that responsibility, that duty. They haven't been given that. He's only given to his children, the children of Israel, period. Okay? He even tells the strangers, guess what? They can eat the food that's been torn by a beast, but you can't. There's still some differences. Everyone's not on the same playing field when it comes to the Most High. You see? So when he talks about them not thinking themselves as one of the nations, he's saying that you're not going to make any type of connection. You're not going to be connected to them in any type of way. So if you're not willing to separate yourself right now, if you're crying about being isolated, understand that this is the future. Your past is your future. That was Yahweh's intention, never for us to be connected to any other nation. You're not supposed to be connected to them. You're not supposed to think like them. When it talked about thinking, he's talking about woven. Like you will weave something together. So you take one thread and you cross the other one and you intertwine them together and you bind them together. That's thinking. That's coming up with the plan. That's coming up with the design. You're not going to be designing nothing with them. Your mind is not going to be connected with them in any type of way. Period. You're not going to integrate with them. You're not going to be integrated with their women. You're not going to be integrated with their cultures. You're not going to be integrated with none of that. Nothing. When they come to Jerusalem to worship the Most High, they're going to come in the name of the God that they have. And you and I are going to have the God that we have in what they would call Isaiah, Yashayahu, chapter number 2, or Micah, chapter number 5, which tells you that we're going to come in our Elohim's name, and they're going to come in the name of their God. So there's going to be other gods? No, he's telling you that their power, whoever their power is, that they're who's governing them. But one that we're being governed by is Yah. So there is no connection between us and them. There is never going to be any woven of thought, no fabric. When the Most High is not trying to make a blanket of nations where we're all coming together and singing Kumbaya. That's not going to happen. Because that's not the intention. Because this is what Balaam is saying. To bring us to the idea of what the Father's intention is. The relationship that you and I have with the Most High is private. It's private. That's why it's isolated. You're private from everyone else. He doesn't want everyone else to have access to you when you come into the land, when you're in a relationship with him, because if it would be that way, then you would be committing adultery and idolatry spiritually, just like the children of Israel did in your Torah portion this week, by gathering with the people and being ensnared by their festival and saying, hey, come and celebrate with us and come and do these things with us and come pleasure yourself. We're all the same. You guys got arms, legs, and a head and, bodily parts like we do. So we can all share together. We all eat. You guys got a stomach. We got a stomach. Most High is saying, listen, my people do not know and they do not reflect and do not understand. They do not understand what the plan is. And if you don't get this, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be destroyed if you don't get this, if you don't embrace the idea of privacy with the Most High. If you don't embrace the idea of exclusivity with the Most High, you're going to be destroyed because the Most High has a purpose for us and potential for us to rule with all his power. He's designated us as a people on the face of the earth to be different from all other nations. I called you out from the nations. Not to be like them, not to think like them, not to be connected to them, not to be married like them, not to drink like them, not to eat like them, not to celebrate like them. You will be different than everyone else on the face of this earth. Yah's not opening himself up to no one else. Of all the families on the face of the earth, you have I only known, says the Most High Yah. What you and I need to do is to have careful consideration about what the Most High is talking about. When he's talking about privacy, he's telling us that this relationship with him is very unique, okay? That's why it's exclusive. That's why it has to be separate. That's why it has to be private. As a married man, I'm not introducing no one else into me and my wife's relationship. And she damn sure better not do it to me. Do you understand? So, uniqueness, okay? And in this privacy, there's freedom of expression. There's freedom to be around the Most High. He's not trying to isolate us so we won't have any real meaningful relationships and with the Most High. He's saying, listen, being with Yah is freedom from everything else. It gives us the idea of protection. Isolation is protection. So the Most High said, I'm protecting you from destruction. I'm protecting you about what's going to come because Yahweh is coming to judge the earth. He's coming. If you read your Tehillim this week, you would find out the Most High is coming to judge the earth. He's going to light the whole earth with lightning bolts and fire and volcanoes and everything. And he's done this and got you on the path because you love him. He's going to rescue you because you know his name. He's going to protect you. That you can find in Psalms 91. Okay? Also, we need to consider the development of why the Most High has set you apart, why he has isolated you. Is also to develop your character of the people that would be in his family and ultimately as a nation. This is the reason why the Most High has designated us as being isolated and alone and not to be considered because they were not Balaam's words. The Most High said, you tell them what I said. And he said, you speak only what I told you to speak. And he told them what Yahweh said. It wasn't his words. It was Yahweh's words. I see him. I see him. From the hills, I see him. He's alone. He doesn't even consider himself to think of himself as one in nation. The Most High is telling you what the future is about these people. Careful consideration. Think about the idea of when we get that freedom, when the Most High protects us and he sets us apart to develop us and also to help us to be able to become better people. Right now, you and I can get some emotional intelligence. We'll learn how to bounce back when we have problems. We'll be able to problem solve, right? We're going to come to an idea of getting more understanding by being on this path, by being isolated. There's benefits of being isolated from everyone else, and you just haven't been told. You haven't seen it. It hasn't been realized. You're probably expecting someone to tell you what a wonderful job you're doing. They're not, because they're not on the road. Other people that are on the road with you that you see very sparingly, they're focused on themselves. He's saying be focused on yourself. Save yourself. Stop looking for a pat on the back from other people. You start realizing the changes that are happening in your life, the capacity that Yah's given you. He's increasing your capacity because of what's going to happen in your future. There's so much at stake that's not even funny. This is all about your future. It's about your inheritance. It's about your standing and your status in the world. Not in your city, not in your town, not in your state. Globally, the Most High is going to make sure that everybody knows who you are. Then you won't be sitting around crying about, I'm so lonely. No one's around. We don't have a church to go to. We have no one to congregate with. We have no family. Blah, blah, blah. Your future is at stake. Those other people that you're whining, complaining about don't have a future. You do. Because there's a role and a duty and a responsibility that you and I got to fulfill. If you're going to be with Yah, you have to take everything that he's saying with careful consideration. Because what's at stake is the Yasharim. The Yasharim. This was found in your Torah portion. It said, who has counted? This is Balaam saying what Yah told him. Who has counted the dust of Yaakov? Talking about his numbers. Or number the ashes of Israel. The dust is living. The ashes are dead. May I die as the righteous die. That word right there is not Zadik in Hebrew. They put that word righteous there. It's not righteous. It's called Yasharim. And the Yasharim is the upright. He says he wants to die like you. He wants to die like the Yasharim. He don't want to die like the righteous. He wants to die like the Yasharim. Who is the Yasharim? May my end be like theirs. Who is the Yasharim? But before we get to the who, we know that the Yasharim has to come out of Yaakov. Biologically. We know that the Yasharim is associated with the one who's prevailed with Yah, the divine one, Yisrael. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. So what we're talking about, everyone, is you look to the right hand of the screen, it says the family of the Yasharim. Okay? So this is talking about the family of the Yasharim, right? So what is the Yasharim? The Yasharim right here is this word right here. It's called Yashar. You know how you get they say, oh, you got the book of Jasher? That word is Yashar. And it's not really a book of a person called Yashar or Jasher. It's talking about the book of the upright ones, okay? Or the acts of the upright, okay? So it's not an instructional book to tell you, hey, this is how you're supposed to live, and these are instructions from the Most High. No, it's just a book, a scroll of all the deeds of those who lived a righteous life or a life of uprightness, okay? So Yashar means to be straight, okay? Happy, remnant, and song. Let me put it all, the pieces together for you. If you look in all these letters right here, they share a core root. And what I mean by a root is there's three letters. There's this one, the second one, and the third one. There's the first one, the second one, and the third one. Reading from right to left. Here's the first one, the second one, and the third one. Here's the first one, the second one, and the third one, right? If you notice, each one of these words that I have here, straight, happy, remnant, and song, are all related. That's why they're called a family, because they're related. They're relatives, okay? In the Hebrew language, this is one of the secrets that people don't know, okay? Is that these letters right here, Shin and Aresh right here. Here's a Shin and Aresh. Here's a Shin and Aresh. Here's a Shin and Aresh. Okay? That's what makes them relatives. Those are the parents. So the parent of these family members is called a shar. Shar. These are the parents. Okay? And every word, or every one of these words right here, straight, happy, remnant, they all have that parent in that name right here. That parent's in there. Okay. So, what does the parent's name mean? I don't have the parent up here. I want to write it out. So, a shar, everyone, okay, is what you would call a cord, a CORD, or you would known as a rope. Okay. And what they would do is they would take the cord and they would bind something, right? Tightly bind things together. Like, the saddle that Balaam put on the donkey, he had to use a cord to do that. And cords are generally made out of leather or skins that they would take, and they would put two of them together, two long cords like this, just two pieces of, whether it be tendons or muscle tissue or whatever they have from the animal. And then when they had it together, what they would do is they would take one of them and they would tie a knot at the top, and then they would come and then they would tie a knot on the other side like this. It's like making a braid. You know how you do a braid? That's what they would do. They would braid these cords together and they would make a rope. And once they made this rope, they would use it to tie stuff with, right? And so what you see here is this word yashar, meaning straight, is meaning a straight cord. Okay, so the cord is not going to be twisted. In order for the cord to be effective, right, it has to be straight. So they would use the cord to measure, right? So anytime you do a measurement, you would use a cord. So they didn't have a ruler, they would have a cord. And on that cord, they would measure things. And measure means that they would be able to make a comparison between two things. So when I would say, well, let's tie every 6 inches, we will use a knot right here and then another knot right here. And of course, and then we have another one right here we would tie, and then we'd be able to use that cord to measure, to find out what the length of something is or how far it was or whatnot, or width, right? So the cord was being used as measurement for that, right? So what is the connection? The connection is when one lives a life that's straight, they're happy. Things are working out for you, okay? When you're talking about that which lives a life that's straight, those are the only people, the Most High, they use the word remnant right here, called a sha'ar. A sha'ar is a remnant. So the only people that are going to be happy are the ones who live a straight life. And when they're happy, they're going to sing a song. It's the same letters that are being used right here. So instead of being YSHR, it's SHYR. Okay, so they're still related. Okay, so to be straight or to be yashar, because this is what it is right here. Here's a yod right here. This is a sheen. I'm reading from left to right, but it really should be right to left. Okay, it should be. Just put the letters up right here for you. So, ya, sh, r, yashar. Okay, so yashar, that you can see right there, yashar. That's this word right here. Okay. So The individuals that are going to be 100% secure with Most High are going to be the Yasharim. The ones who are going to be straight, the ones who are going to be happy, the ones who are going to be the remnant, and the ones who are going to sing a song to the Most High. Right now, you and I are not the Yasharim. Hakika, you just let me down. No, 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 no. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. You have the potential of becoming Yasharim. You do. And who is going to determine whether or not you are a Yasharim? Is it going to be you? You get to determine if you're Yasharim? You get to determine if your cord is straight? Hmm? You the one who says that you're straight? Huh? What is your happiness based upon? How you feel or how much money you make or where you live? Huh? Do you know whether or not you're part of the remnant? No, you don't. Have you sung a song to Yahweh? Huh? In the Psalms and starting in 94, let the earth sing to Yahweh because what he's done for Jacob. Have you sung a song of deliverance? Have you sung the song that the children of Israel sang when they came out between the Red Sea? Did you sing a song? A meaningful song, not a song that somebody did in their studio that's trying to make some money and to get people to come and hear about, their idea of who Yah is. No. What he's talking about is a song of being delivered from Yahweh's destruction. That's when we're going to sing a song. That's when you're going to know who was straight. That's when you're going to find out who's happy. That's when you're going to find out if you're a part of the remnant. Because this is about a future. Because he says here, who is counted? The dust of Yaakov are numbered, the asses of Yisrael. May I die as the upright, the Yasharim die. My end be like theirs. It's all future. See? Another part of the vision is where we're instructed in a Haftarah. This is why we should read the Haftarah. This is the reason why we should expand our thinking. This is the reason why we should put down the remote control on the television. This is the reason why you need to stop scrolling on your phone and read the Haftarah. So you would know what is at risk. My people, this is your king speaking to you. My people, just remember what Balak, the king of Moab, had planned. Remember? He planned something. He planned your destruction. That's what he planned. And he said, what did Balaam, the son of Beor, answer him? What did he answer him? What happened, right? Between Shittim and Gilgal. This right here is dealing with the plague that happened. Okay. And he says, so that you will understand the saving deeds. So that was in your Haftarah. The Haftarah was in a book called Micah, which we would know as Mikah. And me means who, and Ka means like Yah. So this part right here, me is who, and the Ka is like, and then I is Yah. Who's like Yah? That's a question you should ask yourself, because the book is asking a question. Who's like Yah? So Yah wants us to ask the question, who's like Yah? Yah wants us to know, do you understand? That's what he's trying to. My people, do you understand? My people, are you understanding the saving deeds of Yahweh? So Yahweh's telling us that the only way that you will really know about what he's talking about, saving deeds, is when you look at the story of Balak. If you remember and listen to what Balaam said, then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you. But you and I didn't see it. Because we've been religified, because we're not listening to Yah. We're not listening to Yah. We're reading stories. You're not listening. You're not asking any questions. What do you mean? What are your saving deeds? Listen, my people. So the only people that can understand this, and if you want to know something from Yah, you can ask him. Reveal to me what this means. I want to know. Yah's not going to resist us from wanting to know. He's not going to do that. He might give us the answer right immediately. He might not give us the answer for months. He might not give us the answer for years, but he's going to give you the answer when he wants to give it to you. Yah does not withhold any good thing from those who walk uprightly, Yashar, before him. So, if that's the case, if he told us, listen, if he said, I want you to know, you that so that you will understand. I want you to understand the saving deeds of Yahweh. That's what I want you to do, my people. So I want you to remember what Balak, the king of Balaam, had planned. So we remember what he did. He wanted to destroy us. And what did Balaam, the son of Beor, answer him? So that's where we're going to focus on right quick. What did this man answer him? What did Balaam say? We found out the first part about our future. So let's look at it. This is Balaam's forecast, like you would when you're talking about the weather. You know, every day you go on your phone, you can see, hey, today is going to be 75, tomorrow's 78, the next day, and they give you a forecast. Okay. So our forecast right here is about Balaam replied to Balak. This is what he said to him. Here, I've come to you, but I have no power of my own to say anything. The word that El puts in my mouth is what I will say. It's not the word that God, it's the word that El, and you and I both know that El means power. And we also know that the El is one who is the power of the staff, the power of leading, the power of learning, the power of authority, the power of discipline, the power of the voice. Okay? So the voice who spoke to me, I'm going to say what he says. I have no other power but to say what he says, that he's going to put in my mouth. So what did he put in Balaam's mouth that the Most High wants you and I to pay attention to? He wants us to pay attention to power. There's 4 aspects here that was said, 4 things that he said that Yah wants us to know about. He wants you to know about his power. He wants you to know that he's divine. He wants you to know what the status is. And he wants to know, let you know what your status is. And he wants you to know that I'm going to give you immunity. I'm going to give you immunity. First part is the power. Listen carefully. How am I to curse those whom Elohim has not cursed? How am I to denounce those who Yahweh has not denounced? Right? So that's the power. So what is he saying? Most High said, look how he answered. What he's saying is the only one who has power to denounce Israel is Yod-Heh-Wahe. The only one who can ever do anything against them to have the power to curse them is Yah. No other person on the face of the earth, here, now, back in the past, coming in the future, has no power to do anything to these people. Only Yahweh. That's the reason why you and I have been cursed by Yahweh. Okay? To be put under a curse. We're not a cursed people. We're put under a curse. Let me be clear. You're under a curse. You're not a cursed people. You're put under a curse. And the reason why we're under a curse is because we chose to activate the curse by being in idolatry. Okay? The second part is the divinity of Yah. El is not human. Listen carefully. He is not a human who lies or a mortal who changes his mind. When he says something, he will do it. When he makes a promise, he will fulfill it. That is of divine origin. Okay? So what he's telling us is not the God. El is not a human being. So if you worship your God in the New Testament, then your God is a human being. He has testicles. He has bowel movements. He urinates. He goes to sleep. He gets tired and hungry. And he got his behind whooped and he got nailed and he cried. Your God doesn't do that. Your El does not do that. Your El is not a human being. He's divine. So Yah wanted you to know that. Okay? He told Balaam, give the forecast. You thought it was for Balak. It wasn't for Balak. It's for you because he wants you to remember what was answered. The status. No one has seen guilt in Yaakov. This is your future. There is no guilt that is going to be declared upon you. No one has seen it or perceived perversity or twistiness, perversion in Yisrael. Yahweh, their Elohim, is proclaimed as king among them. Yahweh is our king. Yahweh is not waiting for King Dawid. Yahweh is your king. He's using Dawid to be a representative on the earth to make sure that you follow out everything Yahweh said, because you can't come near Yahweh. Otherwise, you'll die. Okay? You see? So your status is that you're going to be considered a Yasharim at that time. You're going to get full immunity. El is who brought you out of Egypt, is the one who gives you strength like a wild ox. No one can put a magic spell on Yaakov. All right? No spell or magic will work against Israel. You're immune from all the other things that the nations have done. So you might ask yourself, well, why have I waking up to this truth? It's because Most High says that magic and spells are not going to work on you. They're not going to work on you. They worked on the other nations. They're working on the Europeans. They're working on the Asians. They're working on everyone else except for you. There's no one else. They're working on the Africans. Let me throw them in there too. They're working on all these other nations that you don't supposed to be part of. It'll never work on you. So the Most High wants you to know that I'm the one who has the power. I want you to know that whatever I told you I'm going to do, I also want you to know that I'm your king and that I'm going to declare you, I'm going to pardon you, I'm going to make your status to be righteous, and I'm going to make you upright. And I also want you to know that you're getting full immunity from all type of trickery. That's Yahweh's gift. This is a forecast. This is a future for you. Okay? Now, in closing, I want to tell you about a Yasharim. I explained about, what it means, right, straight, cord, all those things. But the question is, who will be selected to become the Yasharim? You don't get to pick. Maybe my life is not satisfactory to Yah. Akika, you scaring me. Maybe my opinion about myself. Maybe I'm like Balaam. Maybe I'm false humility. Oh, I'll do everything Yahweh says. Maybe I'm self-willed. Maybe I'll stretch out what Yahweh said so I can do what I want to do. Maybe I've turned away from the path of Yah. And I want to say the path that I'm on is his path. Huh? So who will be selected to become the Yasharim? And what should they be doing? Listen to this. There's a profile right here. You don't know what tribe you're from. To be determined. You don't know what tribe they're coming from. The Most High told Moshe, move out the way, relax away from me. I will eliminate all of them, and I will make you greater than him. He didn't say them. He said him. So Yah looks at us as one. I will make you greater. So what was in Moshe it's in him. It's in Israel. It's in Jacob. So whatever is in Jacob, it's in Moshe. The Most High doesn't need all of us. He don't need all of us. He needs one of us. That's it. That's it. That's all. He don't need, I'll say it one more time. He does not need all of us. Yes, Kale.
I have a question about that. So if he does start with one of us, how does the 12 tribes come back from one person?
He doesn't need the 12 tribes, Kale. He just needs the seed. He doesn't need all 12 tribes. Remember, he was going to wipe out the tribe of Benjamin. He's going to wipe them out for what they did. If you read what he was going to do to them. He was going to wipe out all the northern tribes, and he got rid of them. He doesn't need anybody, bro. He needs one of us in order to keep the seed going. But he doesn't need all 12 tribes. He does not need all 12 tribes. He doesn't. Based on
Isn't
what huh?
because the way I'm thinking is that the 12 tribes are the ones that need to keep the Torah to collectively. So I'm thinking like if he starts with one person, doesn't the 12 tribes have to be together to do the Torah?
No. No, 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 no. The northern kingdom, they broke off away from the southern kingdom. God was still actively with all of them. But he loved David and he loved David's household. That's why he said, for David's sake, I'll go ahead and spare, because he was going to wipe Shalom out. And he said, you know what? I'll spare, one tribe for you. I'll give Dawid Benjamin. But other than that, if it wasn't for David, he would have wiped them out too.
But so how would they keep they need the tribe of Levi to have the priests do the offerings and do the temple. And so if it's just the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin together, they're still missing the other tribes to do the other parts of the Torah, aren't they?
No, because what you're looking at it from you're looking at it from and hopefully you don't get offended. You're looking at it from a religious standpoint. You're not looking at it from the Most High can wipe out everybody and save one of us, and then he can fulfill his promise. It's not just to the 12 tribes. What he said to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is that he would show mercy upon their descendants. Okay. So all he needs is one descendant, and he's kept his word. That's all.
David, Akika?
I think his screen froze.
All he needs is
Hello?
Not the only one that's sitting in silence, am I?
Yeah, I thought it was too. I just wanted to make sure. I think it's Akika's internet connection.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. Yeah, I think he dropped off.
Yeah,
Uh,
he did. Yeah, he'll be back.
Rivkar, are you still? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
I don't know. I think Rivkar and Akika are on the same internet connection. I'm not sure if Rivkar can hear us or not.
Yeah, maybe it was the household internet that went down or something.
Can you guys hear us?
Of the stars, if you
I can
will.
hear you, yeah.
Your
Okay,
family.
so on his end, he's trying to get back in. We're not really sure what happened. So hold tight.
Thanks, Rivka.
So da.
Somebody else is host now. So maybe they got to accept him getting back in. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't.
Ronique? I don't know how to say her name.
He should be able to get back in on his own since I think this is his Zoom.
Ronique, yes. And Sarah has.
Yeah, he should be able to, I guess, but yeah, I don't know.
I think he's just trying to boot up his internet again. It might have went down.
Come as many as the stars.
Is YouTube still up and running?
It says in the upper right corner of mine that it's still connected.
Yeah.
Offer him as a sacrifice.
I wonder if it's like just hearing all of us.
Yeah, probably.
You think that YouTube may have done this?
No, I think his internet is down. Are you and him on the same network or is he on a
Yeah.
separate network?
We're on the same network.
Oh, maybe it's just his computer. Then he needs to reboot his computer if it's frozen.
Okay, I'll go tell him.
Can you guys hear me now?
There you are.
Hey, yeah. I guess Zoom had a breakdown. For whatever, just a moment on my side, but I'm back. Let me reload. Um, I'm not going to reload the thing. I'm going to go ahead and get back on where we left off. Forgive everything, the technical difficulty. Let me share. Just when things were getting really juicy. Yeah. All right. All right. So all right. You guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Because this was like one of the most important parts. Let me see if I can share this right quick. Because we have to get this. Yeah. Rivka, you still want to ask me a question?
Yes, when you were talking about coming from one seed, he could start over with anyone. He said when he was talking to Moses, I was kind of thinking about because of the priesthood, it would make sense that if he did choose a seed, wouldn't you think it would come from Lewi?
Yeah, it would at that in particular time because they're the ones that he selected, right? He said that I'm your inheritance, right? So it could be, but he doesn't necessarily need Levi. He was going to wipe Levi. He's going to wipe Aaron out, remember? So, the Most High can choose whoever he wants, which you're going to find next week as well, that he chose a certain guy. It's those who are dedicated to the Most High, right? The ones that he sees that he would start over with. Okay. So the fact of the matter is, my point I'm making is that right now we don't know. You can't declare yourself to be a Yasharim, just like you can't declare yourself to be a Quadashim, which is a set apart one. A Yasharim is an upright one. You can't. You and I don't have that right. Okay, you can't do that. So it's like someone else saying, "Hey, I'm gonna What the heck? I'm gonna you know, I'm gonna tell you who you are. I'm gonna tell you what you qualify for. You and I we don't have that right. Okay. And no one else has a right to tell you that. Okay. You have to, can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yes.
All right. So where we left off is paid slaves. So if you're employed, not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, we're paid slaves. And you are a captive and you're a stranger. That's what it is. It's nothing else to it. Okay. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Okay. We should be ashamed of this, but at this time, this is what it is. Your status at this in particular point of whoever would be a Yasharim is an individual who has been set apart by Yahweh to be the remnant. That's why I said you can't determine who you are because it hasn't happened yet. So you can't say that you're part of the remnant. You may think that you're part of the remnant, but the Most High is the one who makes that determination. The idea behind a Talmudim is one who follows which is a student. That's what a Talmudim is. So this could be the person, this Yasharim is one who is effectively a student and they're learning from the Torah, the Nevi, and the Ketuvim, right? Of course, we don't know who they are, okay? And of last but least, a religious affiliation, they don't have any. So they're not Christian, they're not Muslim, they're not Buddhist, they're not a New Ager, they're none of those things, okay? I have a text right here in Devarim 29. It says, nevertheless, to this day, Yahweh has not given you a heart to understand, eyes to see or ears to hear. And at this moment, he still hasn't given us eyes to see and ears to hear. You and I might be thinking that, well, I got eyes, I can see what he's saying. No, 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 no. He's talking about a whole nother level. He's not talking about the level of, being taught by a person. He's not talking about the level of us singing the songs that we want to sing. It's divine. This is a whole nother level, okay? I have this photo here of this lion and lioness because Balaam has said that Yisrael is like a lion is laying down and she is fierce as a lioness, that they're going to raise up. And he's not talking about at that in particular time. He's talking about in the future. Okay. So you don't know, right? Hebrew word zana. Okay. So we know that the one who is a Yasharim also has a attribute or a qualification as being someone who lowers oneself. You know, a person who's Yasharim is going to be one who lowers himself. That's the one. And so what I'm saying is, we're not Yasharim. You can want to be one. You can desire to be one, right? Like some people trying to be a Nazarite. But Yah is the one who determines who Yasharim is. And some of the attributes of a Yasharim is one who's lowered himself. And they're one who quietly submits to what they would call divine order. And they're going to be low key. That's what it is. They're not trying to save everyone. They're not trying to tell everybody what they're doing. They're literally living a private life that, other people are going to, probably recognize some things, but they're not there to try to impress them. Okay. So the Yasharim is the one who goes through this sana, not just, false humility, right? They're a sana. They're ones who really lower themselves and they're really submitted. So we like to think, well, hopefully you're thinking, well, hopefully this is me. I'm bringing this out because this is something to encourage you to try to understand and try to develop. Okay. So I'm not your judge. I'm not telling you that you're not. I want to be clear. At this time, I'm not qualified to tell you that you're Yasharim. I don't know you. I don't know your intent. I don't know your heart. I don't know your deepest secrets. I don't know your relationship with the Most High. I don't know your dedication level. I don't know your devotions. I don't know what you're doing behind closed doors. Only know what you tell me. Only see what I can see. And so I'm like Balaam, meaning that I have to have my eyes opened. I might be able to have different gifts and talents to do certain things, but one thing I don't have is the ability to see the future. But I do have the ability to tell you what is going to be seen in the future. Okay. So if this is something that you can desire to want to do, then you should. If you want to be a Yasharim, I'm just telling you what a Yasharim is going to be. That's what I'm saying. So in order to be a Yasharim, they're going to have to be one who lives in a life of not trying to boast about who they are and what they have, right? They're one who lives a very quiet life. They're quietly submitted to the Most High. They're not trying to impress him with a whole bunch of bells and whistles. And they're very low key in everything that they do. Okay. In terms of developing your character, I want you to understand that the development of one's character has to do with the idea between either being miserable or being majestic. So we know that a Yasharim is not going to be a miserable person, right? So I'm just giving you some clues. They're going to be very calculated. Okay, they're not impulsive in their actions because this is who the Yasharim are. And also, too, they're not self-willed. They're not obstinate. They're responsive. You could be one, but you have to line up with majesty of the Most High. You have to be measured. You have to be calculated in the decisions that you make. You are not measured to the point where you're stretching out the commandment. So if you're like Balaam, and if I'm like Balaam, and we're stretching out Yah's command, that's false humility and that's self-willed. And the Most High is saying that you're not Yasharim, because in a couple other lessons, Torah lessons, you're going to find out the Most High kills Balaam because he wasn't Yasharim. He wanted to be like a Yasharim, but he wasn't. Okay. And also, too, in the terms of being delayed in our response to the Most High, you will not be able to become a Yasharim if indeed you're not responsive. That means that the Most High says something, you delay your response, you delay your obedience, you delay your righteousness, you delay everything. You put everything off instead of just doing what he asks, you're making excuses. And that right there is indicative of someone who's not a Yasharim. Okay? Hindrances. Now, what can hinder a person to actually self-actualize this idea of being a Yasharim in the future and will disqualify us from even being considered is one who has ego. You have such a high value about who you are and what you mean to the world. You're not a Yasharim. You will never be one. Okay. And also too, fear is part of that. Like you're afraid to do what he's asking you to do. God's not looking for people who are afraid to do what he says. The fearful are not going to be Yasharim. Those who gave into social pressure of your family, your friends, the festivals like the Israelites that he ends up bringing back and hanging and putting a plague on, right? And having unalive them and kill them is because of social pressure of the people and their festivals and their holidays. And you give into it. You bend. You're bending with everything. That's not a Yasharim. Dude, you're not going to be a Yasharim. Okay. And last but least is a person who has a different idea of self-image. They care about how other people see them, right? So they're trying to maintain an image that they think that is pleasing, right? That right there is going to be a problem. That's a hindrance to the self-actualization of you even attempting to be considered to be a Yasharim. You will not be one. So if these things are causing you to fall right now, unlike in the Christian religion, right? The religious affiliation that we have with them, they would tell you that it's okay because you'll be forgiven. And what you and I found out last week is that Moshe let his ego get in the way. He didn't go into the land. He cared about him and his brother's image. So he rebelled against the Most High. He didn't go in. Social pressure. Israel. The feast of Baal Peor. Fear. Don't want to do what Most High said. Afraid to give in, to bend towards the Most High. You're not going to be the Yasharim. I also want you to understand something. We were instructed, okay, in the Haftarah, this is where I get that word Zana from. The Most High has already told you, human being, you've already been told what is good, what's functional, and what Yahweh is demanding of you, okay? He's demanding this. It's not just requiring. He demands it no more than to act justly, love grace, and live in Sana, which we just saw right here. Live in Sana. Live in Zana with your Elohim. What is Zana? Live a very low-key life. Live in quiet submission. Live in a state of lowliness before the Most High. That is indicative of a Yasharim. If you don't live this way, then you have already been told, right? If you don't live this way, that's the opposite. It's antithetical to what the Most High has asked. It's against what he's looking for. I'm just giving you the clue on how to get to be even considered by the Most High. That's what I'm giving you. Character development, right? Work on being calculated. Work on the mindset of being noble, right? Instead of always complaining and being miserable. Think about the future of what beholds you, what you're chasing. Okay, so here it is. Listen, I'm sorry for keeping going back and forth. If this is something that you want, then you should chase it. But I want you to understand that in order to be Yasharim, you got to be majestic and calculated, and you're going to have to be responsive to the Most High. And these other things down here, these hindrances right here, can disqualify you. I'm not saying you shouldn't chase this because you don't know if you are. What I'm saying is it's been presented to us by the Most High to let us know what he expects from us. The Most High is seeking this. This is what he's actively seeking from you. And when you look in the Hebrew, it talks about actively, it's infinitively. He's seeking it continually. It's not a one-time deal. It's always. And sometimes that might be too much for people. So they only want to give only a little bit. They don't want to give more than that. They don't want to give, they give Yah the bare minimum and they think that he's going to accept that. And the fact is, they're going to be the people who are going to be destroyed because he's saying, like, you thought that I was like you. You thought I was going to accept that. You thought I'm like some man on the earth. That's why he told Balaam, you make sure you tell Balak, I'm not a human being. Whatever I told you I'm going to do, I'm going to do. Whatever promises have been made have been made. But these promises are not made for people who don't want to follow. These promises are not made for people who are self-willed. These promises are never made for people who are stubborn. These are not for people who don't put any time in. These are not for the people who don't want to learn. Listen. I can go completely 100% ape bananas right now. I could go off because I got a lot of feelings in me right now about things, okay? But he's showing us that you got to seek me. And it's not just only seeking him, because that's what he's seeking from us. Yah's looking for a doing. He's looking for a doing from us, making it happen. He's telling you know how to act. And this act right here is doing judgment. It says justly, but it says act justly. He's saying do judgment. What judgment? His judgment. Do his judgment. And part of that is not love this grace, but loving the compassion and the mercy that the Most High has had, loving it, showing it, demonstrating it, showing other people how to do that. That's been one of the challenges that I've had. I got to love people that are like, to me, I don't believe they're worthy or deserving of my love. I do. I really, I got to love them. I have to be what Yah wants me to be. I have to become like Yah. If Yah is alone, there's no one with him. I'll have to be alone because that's where my end is. If Yah is loving and forgiving, I have to be loving and forgiving. I can't be around Yah with my chest stuck out. I can't be around Yah and not be humble. I can't be around Yah and don't love judgment. I can't be around Yah and I extend and stretch out what his command was so I can feel better about myself, or so I don't put myself in a position where I feel like I'm losing. I got an image to uphold. I got to be tzana with Yahweh. Okay? And the idea, when he says to live in tzana, is talking about walking. Okay? Because it says in walking. Walking means living. It says to love grace and to live in tzana, but in Hebrew it talks about walk, and walk is live. To be living, these are things that are always going to be. The commandments are never going to stop. So, This is what our Father is looking for. This is what our power is looking for. And this is something that should inspire us to continue to pursue the Most High. And if you don't, then you will never, ever, ever, ever get this. You're never going to be selected. That's just the truth. I'm not sorry. I know Christianity sold you on the idea that you could do whatever the hell you want to do and everything's going to be all right. It's not going to work. Not with the Most High, because that's not who He is. Okay. Weekly study and meditation for this week coming. The Torah, the Nevi'im, the Ketuvim, which is the Torah. The Nevi'im is your Haftarah, which is the prophets. Your Ketuvim are the writings, right? So the writings of the Most High, right? So we have Bamidbar, which is the book of Numbers, chapter number 25. And the title of that in particular teaching this week is called Pinchas. Okay, it'll be tomorrow. Pinchas. Pinchas is going to go from chapter number 25, verse number 10, all the way to chapter number 30. It's 5 chapters. That's enough, right? Nevi'im. It's going to be in Jeremiah, which they call Yeremiyahu. Chapters number 1, verse number 1 to chapter number 2, verse number 3. Okay, and Navi is a prophet. That's why it's called a Nevi'im, because it's talking about the prophets. Nevi'im, prophets. Navi, singular. A Navi is a prophet. It's one who's going to hide the seed within and tell you something, and then you got to wait for it to develop. The Ketuvim are the writings. Katav means to write, okay? And the writings that I want you to study this week is not in the Tehillim, not in the meditations of the Psalms, but all called Mishle. Mishle is Proverbs. So write it down, English, Proverbs, chapters number 1 through 8. That's going to be dealing with wisdom. I want you to read that, for the next couple of days. Take a chapter a day, read it. Be part of your life, part of your teaching, part of what you eat. Okay. So we've had quite a study today. We've eaten a lot. We've had a lot. Okay. So I praise Yah for you. I praise Him for, bringing this information to us and showing us what we need to do in order to achieve the potential of being secure with the Most High. Because remember, to be with the Most High and to be secure with the Most High, you have to use that rope. Okay. That rope is what was found in our words right here. This was a cord. Okay. This here means he tied the cord. That's what that's a yashar. That's a yasharim. That's someone who's straight. Right now, you and I are not made completely straight. We're learning. Right now, we're getting our knots untwisted. We've been perverted. And He says that you guys, your fathers, you got to acknowledge your awon, your perversity. Your perversity are knots that were in your rope. Okay. So you've been twisted. Your cords are twisted. He said you got to acknowledge that your ways are twisted. All because you're reading the Torah this week or last week or the week before doesn't mean that you're straight. Doesn't mean that you're straight. I'm not here to sell you on that. That's why I said it's potential. Because the Most High is not talking about you straight right now. You're not straight in the nations. You're going to be straight when you're at home. You're going to be straight when you get the download. You're going to be straight when Yah opens your eyes and your ears. And then you're going to be straight when you're fulfilling your purpose. Right now, you're not fulfilling your purpose by being in the nations. You're not fulfilling His purpose. You're not working for Him. You're not serving Him. Well, Akika, what are you talking about? Oh, do you want me to make it spiritual? Yeah, you're serving God spiritually. No. He said, I brought the children of Israel out of Egypt so they can serve me. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. And how did they serve Him? He said, look, built this Mishkan. You guys do this. I'm going to interact with you. I chose that tribe. Bring me these offerings. I'm going to live among you. So once we get to the Yasharim and we get 100% security, then we're going to be happy. And the only ones who are going to be that is the one that He chose. It's going to be the remnant. And the remnant is going to be the one who's going to sing the song. He's not looking for songs from people right now. Hell, you don't even know what you're singing. These people are making all kinds of songs. Sounds good, but that's not what He's looking for. He's not looking for that. So either we're going to tell ourselves the truth or we're going to continue to lie. Okay? So this is the truth. Okay, so if you want to qualify, this is what you got to do. That's the truth. That's the truth. Okay? I'm not here to lie to anybody at all. I'm here to tell you the truth so you'll know. Okay? Now, Real Quiet was put together some. She just came off her trip. She came, she said she was doing it on the airplane, so I definitely got to do this one thing. So here you go. I need some class participation. There's your number 553432. There you go. You can join us at www.kahoot.it. Who else we got? There you go. Bruce is in the house. I'm going to stop the share for a second. I'm coming back, but keep joining.